Hi, this is Andy Walton Whitelock, and this is my video presentation to Advanced Modelling Investigation. So for this project, I was looking into creating a character, preferably a creature-based character, with handheld specs, due to how I'm a gamer at heart, and I love the PlayStation Vita as a console and piece of hardware. Vita was the console of choice in which to aim for. And to start off with, I literally just went out there, looked at concept art from various artists, and stumbled across this person, Gerard S. Marantz. He, as you can see, he creates lots of rather demented things, and often they follow a very sleek and slender style, very smooth, rounded, and also generally quite monochromatic in ways, but they still share a lot of colour, even if that's through, say, the lighting. And this picture was the centerpiece that really conjured my imagination for this project. And so, stumbling upon this guy, also looked at Taylor James, also through Concept Art World, and once again, this was just more for ideas and just to kind of like kind of bring forward my idea more clearly. So to just basically building on from this, I started off some basic form of sketches, and like these were just done in my own time when I had spare time, whether it be on train journeys, and it was just stuff to just try to get my ideas down visually, however simplistic, and just to be able to get something more concrete available. So my PowerPoint, and also did some basic ZBrush bust sculpting, once again just to get the idea down visually. Once I got into kind of the nitty-gritty of ZBrush, which to start off with, I did use ZSphere as the very basic form. So yeah, this is my ZBrush base. As you can see, very, very primitive, and one little area for where the mouth was eventually placed. And this is the final version of the sculpt, and as you can see, influences from like key research are at least attempted to be brought through. So my personal idea of this demon was something tall, skinny, yet powerful. I originally started off looking at prisoners of war, anorexia, all the disgusting kind of body extremities on leaning towards a skeletal side, and this was originally, it was just too much on the thin end, and it didn't really get across the whole powerful I'm evil sort of theme I was trying to go for. So I started looking at people with a little bit more muscular structure to them, as well as other creatures. So as you can see, 2,000 cosplayers. They're good examples of the human body, basically. And then there's some colouring ideas and plenty of reference for screaming, basically, even cats screaming. Xenomorphs and aliens also played a big part into my inspiration for this project. And obviously, if you go into aliens, H.R. Giger, I'm not sure what HR stands for, but he's a Swedish surrealist artist and he created the Xenomorphs, and as you can see, his artwork is very out there and it's just very strange, but there's lots of tubing, lots of nasty stuff, and it's visually striking. And then I wanted also some bulky clothing, a back piece, this big chunky, almost armor but not quite, to kind of contrast this really thin and scrawny character, but also to kind of portray the evil side a lot more. So Gears of War was the obvious choice for this kind of clothing. I love the shapes, and I think all in all, Gears of War style stuff worked, mixing with tubing, and the result was quite interesting. And my original idea of basically not having the eye half of its face like viewable, I think the visor worked quite a treat. So all this about ZBrush, we don't even know the specs of the Vita. I got in contact with a guy called Brian Pape, who works for Sony, Bend, who have done the Uncharted game on the PS Vita launch title, and this is a sample of his work. So as you can see, some sculpts and then low res meshes. So as you can see, he knows how to do his work, and I contacted him originally just showing the kind of concept I was aiming for, and as you can see, it was quite a lengthy reply and all in all rather positive. And there were basically the designing for the Vita is no different from 360 and PS3. All it is more limitations due to the memory, so lower poly counts and smaller textures. And then he suggested to aim for 3000 polys with the texture resolution of 1024 and mirror as much as I can. So that set me up for when I eventually reached the retopology stage. So yeah, finally reached the retopology, and this was done within 3D Coat from the modelling over the ZBrush sculpt, and it was originally about 5.4 thousand tries, and I managed to get this down to about 3.2. That's including everything: the skirt, the back piece, and this was really difficult because trying to keep the form and enough shape in there to just to keep a distinctive silhouette and not basically make it come across as overly simplistic and just devoid of any form. If I had the tries in my head like ingrained into me, like with poly limits and stuff, so when it came to the retop I did think it was 3000 tries he suggested, but no, it was poly, so my mistake. But all in all, I don't think I've sacrificed too much by going down to this try count. It's helped push me, and it's helped try to keep, it's really kind of helped me like figure out where the most important areas were to keep plenty of loops and the details, so joints and stuff, but we also want to keep that strong shape and save where we can. The back piece is a part of him, it's welded on in terms of like actual physical model attachment. These pipes are separate, and so is the skirt piece. So yeah, when it came down to it all, I'd started off painting. This was done via 2048 maps, and the thing with apologising for 3,000 tries and painting a diffuse for a character was the Dota 2 character guide, design guide. Basically, it really gave some heavy insight in towards their thinking process. So the two main things that caught my attention were trying to keep that distinctive silhouette, which I feel has come across strongly through the demon, and especially when he's only 1600 polys, okay, 1800 polygons and 3200 tries, and also trying to using gradient colours, so darker colours are leading towards more focal points. In this case, I wanted to aim for it to be the kind of head and chest area. Also keeping the back piece dark and the skirt area dark, I feel is as well as the visor, it's helped contrast against his rather light toned body, which has been chosen to be light toned to try and portray some kind of death appeal to him. I've been trying to get hints of red hues. I've used a lot of purple and yellow hues with some mix of green and blues. I feel for this like this project, currently the organic painting is so-so. It's still a little bit flat and it could do some work. The normal maps have definitely helped bring in the detail and that extra depth, and it's especially worked very well on these pipes. And the specular map works in places. Unfortunately, the skirt part is far too flat right now. This could be partly down to the specular, but the diffuse is definitely looking too flat and it just needs more work, so that will definitely be touched up and polished, and create more unique things on the body, so scabs around these pipes, etc. There's the spec map as well. Sorry, but getting ahead of myself here. Normal map here, done through XNormals, and then XNormal Photoshop filter to add more fine details, so give the skin a not so smooth texture for starters. And then finally a spec map, so bright light fluorescent greens. I felt contrasted really nicely with the bluey purpley hues on his skin, and this burnt orange red on the visor also works very nicely. The back, also bright specular on the pipes, especially being red, really helped make them more interesting. But something needs to be done with the skirt area just to really kind of make them pop more. During the sculpting process as well, Brian Pape did get back to me eventually, albeit it took a longer time this time around. He praised the work. He suggested to make the score lines deeper due to final lines not showing up, so that's what I tried to do. And he was right. When it came to the normal map, there were certain parts that just were pretty faint for the most part. And so yeah, that largely wraps up the presentation. So this is the model rendered in Solio 2 shader. with the standard 3-point lighting. And then just the I would like to show the normal map with the wireframe once Material Editor opens up. Right. As you can see, 3 Omni lights and different colours. So turn off the diffuse. So yeah, as you can see, the normal maps work by and large. It's just the diffuse really needs some work, especially on the skirt. So yeah, that's the wireframe at 3.2k tries. So half of my original aim, but as you can see, the silhouette, the shape and the major forms are all there, and the design has largely come to fruition, and it currently just needs some polishing up. So yes, thank you for listening, and goodbye.